Good morning, teacher and my fellow friends. My name is and this is my group member, Beatrice Wong. Today we would like to present advanced audit and insurance group assignments. The first is about the evaluations on effectiveness of ISA 315 revised 2019 in supporting audits in achieving the stated objective. ISA 315 revised 2019 is a critical standard that strengthens the audit's approach to risk assessments. It enhances the understanding of the entities, its environment, and internal controls. It also improves audit qualities and consistencies. The standard introduces scalable approach for allowing audits to the risk assessments to different types of entities. It also refines risk identifications that includes 5 key factors, which is susceptibility, complexities, chance, uncertainties, susceptibilities to fraud. Additionally, the spectrums of inherent risk enables a more detailed classifications beyond just height or loss, which is likelihood or magnitude analysis. Moreover, a thorough understanding of an entity's structures, governance, and industry risk is essential for effective risk assessments. Auditors consider regulatory requirements, business model, and IT environment to identify potential financial reporting risks. For example, IT system failure and cyber security threats can significantly impact financial integrity, making IT controls a crucial focus. This center also highlights the 5 key components of internal control, which includes control environments, identify ethical governance, risk assessments, identify financial risk, monitoring control, insurance control effectiveness, information systems, insurance accruals, transactions, reportings, and the final is control activities, which includes syndications of duties and IT securities. Last but not least, auditor must also apply professional judgments and criticism and skepticism to detect inconsistencies, fraud risk, and management bias. A questioning mindset can help to ensure that audit evidence is reliable. For example, unusual transaction should be validated with independent evidence rather than relying solely on management explanations. In summary, these standards significantly improve risk assessments, enhance audit quality, and strengthen fraud detections, while challenging exists such as resources constraints and complexity in small firms. It benefits in improving audit quality and financial reports. Integrity overweights its drawback. Next is about the evaluations on ISA 600 revised in enhancing group audit practice. ISA 600 revised applies to audits on 15 December 2023. It enhances group audit responsibilities in planning, supervising, and reviewing components audit works, while emphasizing risk-based audit approach. Firstly, it can strengthen risk assessment approach away from maturity threshold and focuses on risk. Group audits must now assess risk at both groups. Must now assess risk at both groups and components levels. This ensures that even smaller but high-risk components receive proper audit attention. The revisions also enhance efficiencies by directing resources toward high-risk areas, aligning with ISA 315 and ISA 330 for consistent audit practice. It also provides clearer responsibility for group audits. Previously, group audits could rely on components audits without detailed evaluations. Now they are fully responsible for assessing risk, supervisions on components audits, and ensuring compliance with ethical and independence requirements. The clearest accountabilities can increase the investor confidence and ensures audit consistencies. Moreover, it also improves the communications between group and components audits. ISA 600 revised enhance two-way communications. Group audits must clearly define the expectations before the audit, resist high-risk outdates during the process, and reviews components audit works after the audit. This structured communications helps identify the risk early, make necessary adjustments, and improve coordinations in global audits. Finally, it enhances supervisions and reviews. Group audits must now directly supervise and review components audits works, particularly in high-risk areas. They must assess the competence of components audits and ensure consistency in consolidate financial statements across subsidiaries. This strengthens audit qualities and reduces risk of undetected misstatements. In conclusion, ISA 600 revised improve group audits through a risk-based approach, clear risk responsibility, better communications, and enhanced supervisions. While it may increase complexities and costs, proper plannings and digital tools can mitigate challenges. Ultimately, this change enhance audit qualities, investors' confidence, and public trust in financial reporting. Next up, I will pass my time to Beatrice.
Thank you, Chongqing. Now our presentation will proceed to critical evaluation of the adoption of integrated reporting in Malaysia compared to other Asian countries. First, let me introduce the background of integrated reporting. interest is growing. Countries like Singapore and Philippines are leading, while Malaysia and Indonesia are gradually adopting IR. Let's proceed to IR in other Asian countries. Singapore has taken a leadership role in Southeast Asia when it comes to IR. Companies like City Development Limited, CDL, use IR to connect ESG with economic performance. The Singapore Exchange mandates sustainability disclosure and public support is strong. ISCA supports companies through case studies from leaders like BBA and the Maritime Port Authority. In Indonesia, IR adoption is still voluntary and in early stage, with only around 32 companies currently using it. However, there's a strong culture of sustainability reporting, which provides a good base. Growth has been seen especially between 2018 and 2021, but wider adoption will require stronger regulatory support. Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia share similarities in IR adoption. IR is mostly voluntary, still relatively new and aligned with the IRRC framework, meaning all are moving in the same direction but at different speeds. There are some clear differences. For regulatory framework, Malaysia encourages IR through guidelines. Singapore mandates IR for key sectors with a clear timeline, while Indonesia keeps it voluntary with no strict enforcement. For adoption levels, Malaysia has over 100 listed companies using IR. Singapore has a well-structured and faster implementation plan, whereas Indonesia's adoption remains limited and slow. In terms of priorities, Malaysia focuses on integrating financial and sustainability reporting. Singapore emphasizes climate-related disclosures, and Indonesia aims to improve transparency and align with international standards. There are some lessons Malaysia can gain from Singapore and Indonesia. Malaysia can learn from Singapore's early involvement in global IR initiatives, sector-specific mandates, and strong capacity building through training and guidance. Strengthening the Malaysia IR steering committee to replicate Singapore's success. Indonesia's emphasized stakeholder involvement and ESG integration. While still in early stage, its gradual approach and alignment with local needs